Hi there, I'm Laurel Didier. I'm the publisher of Closets and Organized Storage, and I'm delighted to be with Alice Riiski-Kempton. She is a design lead at California Closets and working the Los Angeles market area, which I'm sure you can assume is a busy, busy, crazy marketplace. And Alice is going to talk to us today for our column that runs in every issue of Closets and Organized Storage magazine. This one's for the March-April issue, 10 questions. And just to tell you a little bit about Alice, she's worked for several closet companies. She's worked for independents. She's worked for franchises. But mostly she's just, from her words, she just enjoys being a closet designer, and she's very, very good at it. She is registered as a storage designer through the Association of Closets and Storage Professionals, the ACSP, which is an organization that, first of all, they were the first to have certification. And I don't even know if there is anywhere else you can be certified. And they're an organization that we work with quite a bit. They're very helpful to people coming into the industry and helping them out. But even people that have been in the industry a long time, they exchange a lot of ideas and resources. So if you're listening to this and you're not in the association, it's a little plug for them. I don't get anything for it, I promise. Alice is a little different. She grew up in her native Finland, which you can imagine. We see the Nordic design, in the US, but, not all the time. We still have designs that are very, I consider maybe a little clunky or ornate, not quite the fine lines that you see in their designs. So I wanted to ask Alice our very first question, and that is, having the Nordic heritage, how you've integrated that background into your professional life now as a designer, if you use some of that to influence your designs.
Yes, thanks, Laurel. Nice to be here. So basically, my design aesthetic is very streamlined and simple. So I don't initially like to mix a whole lot of different elements and colors. So I usually like to keep it more maybe one or two striking elements in a design, if anything. And then it's just simply I always have that practical mind. So everything kind of is based on is this going to be practical?
Right.
And that's really just kind of that inside feeling that I have.
Right. Well, and you also said that, in Finland, the homes already have a lot of storage. So you're more adept at seeing the functionality that maybe gives you a little bit of an advantage when you're looking at a space here in the US.
True, very true. It's actually interesting because when I did move here, and I obviously lived in a few different apartments, I was always wondering how come there's no shelves in a closet, or where's all the storage? I had a hard time kind of understanding the whole how do people live in their homes? As we already kind of we typically have some kind of storage unit in whether it's a apartment building or another housing type.
Mm-hmm.
And also we just kind of have these built-in cabinets in hallways and whatnot. Right. And that is sort of missing here.
Right. It's just starting to take off, the built-ins, that.
I know.
That all of a sudden it's I want built-ins,
I know.
Right. So thinking about, again, going back to that, the look of Finnish and Nordic design, I think of like light woods and a lot of white, a lot of white. So
Yes.
that being said, do you have a favorite color?
Oh, I'm a little different in that sense too. So my favorite color is magenta, and it
Okay.
has been for years. Yes, I'm just always like just so fascinated about that color, and I would want to design a closet with that color for sure.
Well, I think, when you think of like if all the color in a room is like black and white, and then you have the splash of magenta, like wow,
Uh-huh.
you know.
I know.
So do you try to design that into your spaces professionally or in your own professional, not professional, but personal space?
In my personal space, yes, I have had like homes where I have incorporated that color. When it comes to working with my clients, honestly, it's so much based on what they're looking for,
Sure.
their homes, understanding their design aesthetics. So I'm not like trying to um, force anything that
Right.
doesn't like, it's not part of their design understanding and aesthetic. So
But you could always throw a vase of magenta peonies on
absolutely.
the counter.
Yes. I'm going to start doing that.
There you go. I love it. So when you think about your job every day, what do you love most about being a closet designer?
I love the creativity. I love the fact that days go by so quickly. Just the constant, basically learning something new. And it's just, it never gets boring to me. I just love that. Not something that I essentially had initially in my previous job or what I did before. So I think
Yeah,
it's a nice challenge, nice cocktail of different things.
I imagine you mentioned that you like the concept of solving puzzles.
Yes, when you're in a tight spot and then you're like, what am I gonna like? I don't know what to do here, but then suddenly it just comes to you and you're like, oh yes, now I know exactly what to do.
Yeah,
I
that's
love that feeling.
I can imagine that would be a lot of fun to,
Mhm.
just be like you said, in a tight spot and then the light bulb goes on and there's
Yeah,
there's the solution.
that's my
Yeah.
shot in the arm.
So on the fourth question, what when you get up in the morning, what motivates you to start your day? Like what gets you revved up?
My husband.
Yeah.
He kicks me out of the bed. No, I mean, I kind of like I just learned to, in doing this, I wanted to be good at what I do. And I just believe in waking up essentially early, getting your day going. And what motivates me is just that I love what I do and I want to be good at it. Obviously, it's also about like, it's fun to see your sales, like having good sales, getting, having this many. So I'm always also tracking my numbers. So I'm really aware where
Right.
I'm at.
Right. Right. A little bit that competitive edge and uh, and
Exactly.
setting
But
setting the bar for yourself.
exactly. But ultimately, honestly, it's really that when I've been in a place in my life where I didn't have this, I wasn't excited to wake up in the morning. And now that I have this and I know what it feels like when you don't have something like this, that's my motivation.
Yeah.
I can always just go back to that feeling and be
Right.
like, yeah, I don't want to be there. I love this.
Right.
Let's go.
Yeah. Not taking it for granted. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hear you.
Exactly.
So in your surroundings, like, whether it's the people you're with, the atmosphere, the actual place, but like what inspires you?
So many different things. I actually noticed that, especially lately, I just like to go, for example, to furniture stores now that some of them are open again, right?
Yeah.
And just like even like looking at the details of different furniture and texture and colors and how they're put together. Or if I get like a furniture catalog in home in the mail, I'm like always like, oh my gosh, what did they do? So it's just like looking at that. And then also we have, of course, our association. We have a wonderful Facebook group and ideas are shared there. And I follow other designers in the industry.
Sure.
And that gives me great inspiration always. And also with California Closets, we have our own Facebook group.
Sure.
So there's definitely multiple different resources where to get inspired.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can definitely, I mean, when the pandemic started here and we had to stay in, I started remodeling and I am now done with the inside of the house.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking about moving to the outside of the house, doing some landscaping, but I mean, I pore over magazines, Pinterest, Instagram. I watch HGTV,
Yes.
take walks to see what my neighbors have, what they're doing. And like you said, just seeing, I like when different things collide, whether that's color, materials, and I think people are now becoming a lot more open to, different ideas and not being so staid that everything's got to be the same or match kind of thing. So that's got to make it more fun as a designer.
Absolutely. I'm really waiting because obviously usually things start more in the kitchen, like people invest more money in the kitchen that like elsewhere in the home, but that's what I'm really waiting. I'm seeing more trend that closets are becoming more and more a thing and important. So
Right.
that's the exciting part of this industry too.
Well, sure. And right now, with so many people working from home, there's flex space. So it's not just storing stuff, it's just making spaces more usable. So definitely. So on question number 6, what do you feel are the most important qualities for a professional woman, a designer? What do you bring to the job that you think are really important to remain successful?
So definitely being organized. So the quicker you can get, for me, it's really like the quicker I can get back to my client and keep things moving, then that is kind of like fundamentally important in being successful. You just can't get stuck.
Yeah.
And then of course you have to be detailed. This is a very much a detailed job, and you got to love the detail, and you got to be proud of that you're getting your measurements correct, you're submitting the job correct, and then just also of course people skills that I feel like are always something that you can improve on, and being able to sometimes explain something simple, but even more simply, or complicated, but you have a way of just quickly kind of like making sense to the client.
Right.
So the faster you can get them to just agree, the faster they say like, oh, I get that now, or I didn't understand that, but now I do. Then I feel like that really builds your credibility.
Absolutely. I could see that. And I know like some people like things explained to them, through audio. Other people show me, like put it on paper, let me see it. And that's something I'm sure you have to adjust to depending on who you're talking to and who you're working with.
Yes, exactly. Your brain is always working. You're always trying to figure out the person, the client. Like, how do I best communicate with them? So yes, of course you're listening, and then just taking cues from that.
Yeah.
And then, so even that is a puzzle sometimes that you're like, what makes this person tick?
Yeah. So Alice, for question number 7, what makes you happy?
Honestly, simple things. I love a clean home, a good movie, a good meal, being with friends.
Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes, yeah, simple is, especially in such a very crazy, cluttered world.
Yeah, in the end of the day, after a busy day, I'm just happy when I have like maybe a nice glass of wine and a good meal and good company, and that's all I need.
I can definitely agree with that one. Thinking back on your young life, I'm sure you're going to have a lot more of these as you move forward. But what do you see as your greatest achievement?
Honestly, in the end, I feel like it's just like the classic story. Like, I'm an immigrant, right? I got my citizenship 2 years ago now. Or was it? No, thank you. Yeah. No, actually, I think it was a year ago. Anyway, but being that I'm here, essentially, I was in a place 5 years ago where I was in a turning point in my life. Relationship ended. I was kind of like in this dead end job, and I just had to reinvent myself.
Yeah.
And then I found closets, which I love. I mean, I never even knew that this existed, honestly.
Oh, cool. You're giving me goosebumps.
Yes. And this has just really become like my, and it's given me basically a reason to wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
A way to make, decent money, and just feeling important, like I contribute to the community, and I've gotten to know like great people through this, and I just I feel like I'm at home.
Nice.
Yes.
That's awesome. There's a lot of people that go through their entire lives not finding that kind of sweet spot. So that's great. Very, very good. All right. Well, let's flip that one over and say, what is your biggest challenge right now? Like, what do you find the most challenging in your life right now?
Well, I want to say this year has been challenging, and I have gone through that because I just moved right from, so last year. It's almost like I've gotten over that biggest challenge right now, but it was more like last year because I relocated from San Francisco Bay Area to LA.
Right.
And then so California Closets is an amazing company, and they offer this amazing training program. And even coming with experience, I had to go through this 3-month training program, right? And that just speaks to their standards and the way things are done here.
Right.
And so basically I relocated, looking for a new place, everything, you have to just restart.
Right.
And then the pandemic, basically, right when we moved here, the pandemic started.
Wow.
And then suddenly, basically, the first month was kind of like nobody knew what's going to happen. Everybody was kind of like a little scared.
Very, yeah.
And then being that I was the newbie, then I was furloughed for a couple of months last year. And I was so eager. I'm like, I love this. I love so much what I do. This is like the last thing that I want to happen to me, right?
Right.
But I had to just wait it out. And I got back in the game in June, and I just knew that I gotta be like super fast. Like, it's like basically like I don't have any time to ramp up. Like, I just gotta be like, phew.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta take off that plane.
There goes Alice running down the streets in LA.
Yeah, and I was actually really able to accomplish that.
Yeah.
So I guess that could be my biggest achievement.
Of course, that's a big deal. for sure.
Yeah.
And a challenge. You overcame a big challenge. So our last question, which I'm kind of sad is coming to the end because I've really enjoyed this, but what would surprise people that know you? Like what is there about Alice that people don't know as far as like a character trait or a guilty pleasure? What would you see as something that may surprise people?
Well, I definitely like my share of bad TV. I could, yeah, I could honestly like, I do like right now, I feel like I work so much that I'm always just like, people probably think that I'm a workaholic, but I could easily also just stay in bed for a whole week and just binge
Yeah.
on, you know, Real Housewives and whatnot, and just let it go.
See, and that I think that it would be surprising because generally people that are achievers and successful, people can't imagine them just turning it off and just doing a complete chill for
Yeah, maybe that's the European in me.
Yeah, maybe. That's great. So, Alice, again, thank you so much for your time. And for anyone watching this, again, you'll see it in the March, April issue of Closets and Organized Storage. And for any of you interested, there's this cool little show that's going to be in West Palm Beach, June 8th through 10th in at the convention center there, and Closets Conference and Expo, and we're hoping to see everyone there. Right now, attendance is going very well, and exhibits are filling up as well. So if you have any questions, please go to closetscon.com, or you can email me at laurel.didier@woodworkingnetwork.com. And again, Alice, stay safe, stay healthy, and to all our viewers, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.